Hey, Amie,
Yeah, Juan.
give me that beat.
It's Baseball Shangri-La with Amie Cuevas and Juan Ramirez.
What's up, party people? She is Amie Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. You are listening or watching Baseball Shangri-La. If you are listening to us on the audio portion of the show, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, rate us, write us a review, help spread the word about the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us your comments. We love engaging with you. And most importantly, make sure you're following us on social media on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, YouTube, and Bluesky at Baseball Shangri-La. Amie, ¿cómo estás?
Hi. I'm gonna warn you in advance. I'm in a goofy mood today. We have a
All
lot
right.
of baseball to cover, and that just makes me silly.
All right, then let's do that. Let's talk some baseball, ladies and gentlemen, and a pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. We're gonna
Wow,
backtrack.
you are really serious about not getting sent down to the minors. You have not missed your Vin Scully.
Look, I appreciate El Cerebro for calling me out. Sometimes, you get a little too comfortable in life, and you need a wake up call. You need to be reminded that, hey, you're not special, buddy. You're not anybody. And so I want to give a shout out to El Cerebro for not only being a loyal fan, really enjoy your comments, but for calling me out when I need it. So thank you for pushing me to be better, El Cerebro. Thank you very much. So we're gonna start with the Gigantes series because when we last left you, it had just started, so we really didn't get a chance to go deep into that series. But Amie, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna let you start with your takeaways from that series because I'm starting to feel. I don't know if it's negative energy, but I feel like there's real bummer energy around the Dodger fans that I hang out
Oh
with.
man.
So let's see if your positive energy can rub off.
I mean, I'll do my best, but here, let me throw some glitter at you. I like I just like watching the game. So the first thing that sticks out from that Giant series was honestly for me that collision out in the outfield with Teo, and I know it didn't like impact the game in any way, but just seeing him and Alex Call, was it Alex Call?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Alex.
My God, like just I know that we see it every so often and it's really hard. I think we take for granted how loud stadiums can get, how they have a quick like split second to like make decisions. I got the ball, you got the ball, and yes, they get training for, whoever calls it should be able to get it, but obviously things happen. But that collision was probably one of the more serious ones we've seen. We've seen him and Pages collide a couple of times. It's never easy to watch that happen. But what were your thoughts when you saw it? Were you like, it's baseball in the outfield?
It seemed like Alex Call got the worst of it, but both of them seemed like they were pretty shook up. And yeah, to steal your phrase, Amy, it's baseball. I mean, other than what am I going to sit there and say, hey, call it? But, both of them are going after the ball. And like you said, it's loud on there. But look, when it's about effort, yes, you don't want them to crash into each other, but they're both trying to catch the ball. So it's not like I can call them out on anything.
Well, and I think and this was like, what, 9 games ago? But if I remember, Call kept it in his glove, even amidst all of the chaos and the, oh, my jaw. Like, so kudos to them for being professionals because that looked like it hurt.
What else do you got?
Oh, okay. You're waiting for me to move on. Got it.
I mean, if there's more you want to add.
No. I just didn't know if you wanted to.
I just don't want. I don't like cutting you off.
Because, hey, we're having a conversation.
Then they're going to sit there and go, man, that guy just loves listening to his own voice. He's a mic hog, So that's what it is.
No, we're interjecting. So, this was that first game was the last time we got to enjoy Shohei's streak because he had that 53 game on base streak, and
that's
the next night it got broken. But for one wonderful day, he was tied with Sean Green. Well, not one day. I mean, he will always be tied with him, but we at least got to experience it for a little bit longer. I mean, we got to see Yoshi, Ohtani, Glasnow pitch in that series. Ohtani at that point still had only a .38 ERA. Like, just amazing considering, he does, people are connecting. He had 5 hits, but he also struck out 7. So he continues to kind of power through. We're seeing as we continue through these series, we're seeing whether he is going to be pitching and DHing at the same time, or is he pitching and they're kind of benching him on the other side. But even amidst all of the conversations and that stuff, he still has a sub-1 ERA, which I think is astounding.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk more about the unicorn, especially when we talk about the Marlins series. But just to address the streak, and the streak almost ended the night before. He needed it like his
There were a
last
couple of
at-bat.
nights that it almost ended, which is why I was confused last week. I was like, I thought it ended, maybe it didn't. So
Yeah, but to me, you know what? I mean, obviously, 53 games. That's insane. That's very impressive. But I really want to take this time to shout out Duke Snider, because Duke Snider is the guy who has the all-time Dodgers record, and that's at 58 consecutive games. And I know Duke Snider's before our time, but I feel like that dude doesn't get enough credit, and I get it. He played back in the ages, right? So of course no one's going to talk about Duke Snider, because everybody's going to be like, dude, what are you living in the past? But he holds a lot of Dodger records. He's a Hall of Famer. Now, who knows? Maybe the legend of Duke Snider would be bigger if he didn't play in an era, not only in an era, but in a city where 2 other center fielders were technically better than him, and that's Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle. So you're talking about like the greatest outfielders in the sport. So I really just want to give Flores to Duke Snider. I mean, may he rest in peace, but that dude is the all-time home run leader for the Dodgers. He's got like, this guy was an absolute stud, and it's too bad that I never got to see him play.
yeah, it is a bummer. But hey,
Right.
I'm sure he loves the flowers. On kind of just talking about like more of the pitching side. So we saw Yamamoto, the continued theme from last year into this year. He didn't really get the run support he needed. I mean, we got shut out the next night, which was kind of brutal, but I don't know. I feel like they were on this 13-day tear, so like it was a little rocky in the beginning, and then it kind of leveled out in the
No pun
middle.
intended, ladies and gentlemen.
And then we saw how it ended. So a lot of these were low scoring games too, which I know you love. And until we got into the Cubs series, we didn't really see one of those like double digit games.
Yeah, and that to me is the biggest takeaway, is the Dodgers offense has completely disappeared. Well, disappeared in that series. You score 4 runs in 3 games. That's real. That's a lot of pressure that you're putting on your pitching staff. And this was supposed to be a vaunted offense that I don't want to say that is slump proof, but Amie, we had been talking about how the lower third of this Dodgers lineup had a greater OPS than those first 4 hitters. And
That was your stat.
that was my stat, and I get it. It's April. I'm not panicking. In the words of Jerry Maguire, I'm not gonna freak out like you guys all think I am, but it is something that I don't know that is sustainable. I'm curious how much longer this will go, but for me,
Well, it
that was
isn't sustainable if they're not hitting. So
well,
yes.
I mean, sooner or later, I mean, here's the reason why I say sustainable is because they're still in first place in their division. Okay, yes, they no longer have the best record in Major League Baseball. The Bravos are ahead of them now. Okay, but sooner or later, you gotta hope that these guys offensively will find their rhythm, because we talk about the Cachorro series and even more going to the Marlins series, I like to give everybody at least 2 months into the season. I think 2 months into the season is a very good sample size in terms of how their season is going. But in that Giants series, it just offensively, nobody could get anything going. And I know I already heard it from you guys saying, how is it that we face the bottom of the division and we're under 500 against them? And I would just told him, I was like, listen to Amie Cuevas on Baseball Shangri-La, and she'll tell you why. It's just baseball. But for me that it's a lot of pressure to put on your pitchers. Where not, I mean, the Shohei game, you got no run support.
Mhm.
Yamamoto broken record, you get 1 run. I mean,
I mean, at least with Glasnow, they were able to shut him out, but
it almost felt like that's what the Dodger pitchers had to do with the way that offense was playing. And San Pancho was the only chance we have of winning is a shutout. And man, hats off to Glasnow. Glasnow just really came in there and shut the door on them.
well, and it's unfortunate. I'm curious if because it feels like they're shaking up the lineup quite pretty frequently. Now I know that they're all professionals and you're supposed to hit wherever you're going to hit. But we've talked about the mental aspect of the game. Does so much movement and plus, all of the platooning that they're doing, especially with Mookie out, I wonder if that, plays a part. And again, yes, they should be professionals and they should be able to overcome that. But I just something's not clicking where it was clicking in the beginning of the season. And I don't know what it is, but we're I don't know, man. I'm just looking over these scorecards. I can't figure it out.
Is there anything else you want to add? Because I feel like that San Pancho series was kind of sad times.
I don't think it was sad. I mean, I feel like there was still good baseball. I thought, if anything, because they were low scoring games, I thought you were going to be happy when we talked about this at the very least, because they weren't blowout games. And
no, look, I'm happy. I just want to see the Dodgers win.
oh,
So
okay.
yes, we see low scoring baseball. I love those kind of games. But I
Mhm.
love them more when the Dodgers win. When they don't win, it's just one of those things. Like when you don't score any runs, one of
Do
the
you
I
think
think
that's what contributes to all the drama I feel like people are trying to insert into some of these series too? I feel like there's a lot going on outside of baseball where the conversations I'm having, it's not only do I not care about any of this drama, I feel like it's made up, but it feels like, is it because the game is not as exciting right now when they're not winning? Is that why we're doing it?
I wish I had a better answer for you on that because, back in the day when I was the toxic fan that I was, my mood
No
really
longer, my friend, no
no,
longer.
right. I'm in recovery. Hopefully I'll stay there and I won't have a relapse. But I'm gonna say this. There was a period of my time where my mood was completely dependent on whether the Dodgers won or not. Even going back as a kid. Like when they would lose, I would get so mad, and my dad would be like, "¿Por qué te enojas?" And I don't know, for some reason, I just wanted them. It doesn't make any sense, right? But I want them to win every single game. And I wish I had a better explanation to you as to why so many people are wired that way, where their mood is so dependent on the winning aspect. Like I feel like your mood is not dependent on that. Like you watch the game, you can find enjoyment regardless of the outcome. But there's a lot of people out there whose enjoyment is really based on that outcome. And I guess maybe I can only chalk it up to the fact that they're maybe just prisoners of the moment, and that maybe we got to practice looking at the bigger picture, considering that it is an extremely long season. I feel like there was this I don't know what it was, if it was a gif or a meme going around social media, and I don't know if you saw it. It was the Dodgers vicious cycle,
Oh
where it
no.
was like the Dodgers start off hot, then the Dodgers get on a losing streak, then the fans turn on them, the fans go crazy, the playoffs start, the Dodgers win the World Series, and it was just like it was so accurate
I'm
because I'm
glad
like,
I
that is
didn't see it because I probably would have sent it to you and been like, "You mean baseball?"
no, it was going around because I saw more than one person sharing that, right? And I
Oh
was just
man, I
like,
have curated my algorithm just perfectly then.
I will, and when I find it, I will send it to you because it was so accurate. It felt on the nose, but
Hmm.
at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what's happening. But it's April,
But
like it's
I feel like
April.
you say prisoner of the moment, but I also think it just depends on your viewpoint. I go to baseball as my it's my salvation. It's the thing that makes me light up. Barring a couple parking incidents this year already, that aside, when I step into Dodger Stadium, like I am happy. Like it doesn't matter if I'm working, if I'm going as a fan, or I'm just watching on TV. Like when my work day is done and I'm getting my scorecard ready and I'm like settling in on the couch, I'm excited to watch the game. Do I want them to win? Absolutely. But at the same time, like how they get there to the win or to the loss, to me, I feel like I don't want to get into like the hippy dippy, but like it's the journey, not the destination. But it's kind of like that though. Like, and maybe it's because I keep my scorecard too, because I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. Oh my God, he struck out the cider. Oh yeah, he's having a little bit of a rough time. Maybe he's due. Like, not that I'm having the conversation with myself as I'm scoring, but that's kind of how I'm looking at the game. And I don't know. Are people diving into the minutia of it, or are they watching it? And this is not a dig, but like surface level. And I just want to see the win or the loss. To me, I think the beauty is in the minutia of the plays, what just happened, or, oh my God, the theater of these two just crashed into each other. God, I wonder what they were thinking. Are they okay? And I don't know. I just, maybe it's a little bit of my autism, but like it just, that's how I dive into the game. And I love every minute of it. Not the losses so much, but I mean, that's part of the game.
It's not that, it's negative, but I just feel that the Dodger fans that I've run into and had conversations with lately, I guess the best way I can describe it is they're disgruntled. And I'm really trying to understand, Amie, why. And I think there's different factors involved
Do you
in
feel
this.
like they watch it like and remember that these people are human? Because I feel like the conversations that I have, we're talking about them like they're human. So it's like, oh my gosh, he struck. Oh, that at bat must have been so rough for him. Like actually, like empathizing with them versus being angry and like, why didn't you hit that? Like, I noticed the difference in my conversations in my threads when we talk about the game versus some of the things sometimes I either see online or sometimes some of the things you send me, and I'm like, oh, that's a way to watch it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I really, part of me, and I get it because it's a result driven sport. I think a lot of it is focused on the outcome, but I am trying to understand why are they in this malaise about the Dodgers? Because if you look at it, Amie,
Let us know in the comments too how you guys watch the game. Like, do you guys get caught up in the like having it affect your mood or not? Because I mean, chat about
because
it.
here's the thing, Amie, they rank first in batting average. And you know me, I love batting average. They're
Mhm.
first with 274. They're second in the league in runs scored, 165. They're third in ERA. And then they're first in whip. So they're like in the top 5 in all of these categories, but yet you hang
Lovely
around.
stat. Lovely stat.
Hey, I'm all about the stats, ladies and gentlemen. But like you hang around Dodger fans and you would think that these guys are bums and they're playing like the Metropolitans are playing,
But
you
I think
know?
that's just different types of ways that people fan. I don't necessarily associate like not intimately, but like my circle, we just don't talk about baseball that way. Like if people want to talk about it that way, I'm just not involved in those conversations.
I think a lot of people also, I think, have gotten up and got caught up in records and in the names. Okay, so they just played 9 games against the Gigantes, the Cachorros, and the Marlins of Miami. The Gigantes is a rivalry. I get it. They
Mhm.
probably hate losing a series to them. Also, the Gigantes were in last place at the time that they played them, right?
And as we know, all these teams play up to them. I think even Jessica Mendoza and was it Steven Nelson were talking about it the other night. This is some teams' World Series. Like if they can beat the Dodgers, where to us it's like, okay, yeah, we just dropped two games to the Marlins. Like, would we have liked to not have done that and taken the series? Sure, but some of those teams are going to play up because of what's going on in baseball. And we've seen historically that sometimes the Dodgers play down on those ones. I think we were just talking about that last week. So, I mean, that definitely factors in too, even if it's just subconscious.
Do you really subscribe to that theory, don't you? Because you've brought it up more than once.
It's not that I subscribe to it. It's just you see it happen. And then based on like conversations, like I'm not saying that like, well, Jessica Mendoza said it, so it must mean that that's true for the whole league. But it's, I mean, based on what we've seen with our own eyes, that typically is what happens. when they're playing some of these teams that are like sure things that don't end up being sure things. And then we end up talking about it a week later and it's like, man, I can't believe they lost to the Marlins. And it's like, well, history.
I do think there is probably a little bit of truth to that saying, because it's just human nature.
I don't
But
think it's a reason. I think it can explain some of it.
But I hate it because and look, you could look at all three series that we're going to talk about this show, and I think it supports your argument, right? But I just hate it because the only series they ended up winning was against a Cachorros team who, going into that series, had won 9 in a row.
They were on a hot streak.
And yeah, they were very hot, right? So that's the only series they end up winning, and then they end up losing the series to the Gigantes and the Marlins. I hate it because I feel like, and I'm not the biggest Michael Jordan fan, right? But like Michael Jordan, there's famous stories that he would get so mad when they would lose to a team that they were supposed to beat, and he would call out his teammates and he would sit there and go, because of that, these guys now think they can beat us. And it was almost like, I'm pretty sure you could sit there and go, Michael, you guys played down to them. You guys probably thought, hey, we don't have to try as hard against these guys. We'll beat them. And that's why I'm like, yeah, that's human nature. But you had a guy like Michael Jordan who I think made it his goal to let his teammates, we're not going to allow that to happen. So that's why every time I hear that theory, I always sit there and go, well, why did the players allow themselves to play down to that other team?
See, and I don't think it comes down to like, one, it's obviously not a conscious decision, and I know we both recognize that. But I don't think that's what it is, though. It's what we expect from baseball players and teams as a whole is to be perfect every single night. You've got to be almost near perfect to pull off a win. That means your offense has to be firing. That means defensively, you can't make any mistakes. And then your pitchers have to come in, and then they've got to be able to like hold it down, especially when you're having more than like 2 or 3 pitchers in a game. The first game with the Cubs, we had 5 pitchers in that game, and we saw some struggle once it kind of transitioned over to the bullpen, who had been having up to that point. They've been doing pretty good, but the Dodgers had 4 runs going, coming out of the 4th. And then when we went into the bullpen, everybody seemed to be having a little bit of a struggle. Alex Vesia ended up getting out of the inning, but we saw some runs score between him, Trinan, and Tanner Scott. Like, they all struggle. You got 3 pitchers in a row. That's everybody trying to do their best, and it just didn't work out. The way that you always say, like, we got that team at the right time. Well, they got that pitcher at the right time. They got that pitcher at the right at bat. That's like the whole game of baseball. So if one of those little things that we expect to go perfect doesn't, that's the difference in a game.
Do you want to go into the Cachorro series since you brought it up? Okay.
Yeah, I figured you had nothing left of the Giants.
Well, I did have one thing in the Gigantes series, and I don't know how much time you want to spend on it. But
if it's what I think, we're gonna have to cap it because
I'm curious. What do you think it is?
Is it the Dalton Rushing?
Yeah, is Dalton Rushing getting a reputation here, or do you chalk that up to it was the rivalry between the Dodgers and the Giants? Basically, was more made out of this than should have. And for those of you,
it was much ado about nothing. So
okay, that June Lee thing. Do you want to set it up for people?
Go for it. I'll fill in the pieces.
Because it was not only that, but then it was also the slide at second base, like
which is so funny because like people were calling it dirty, but then I saw like Muncy slide into a base like a game or 2 later, and like he was sliding foot first, not sliding hand first, and I'm like, okay, so was that a dirty? Like, I don't know. Go for it. Tell the people who may not have heard it.
I agree with you that it was much ado about nothing, especially the one at second base. I just find it very interesting that it's all of a sudden Dalton Rushing seems to be like, I don't know, a beacon for all this like made up.
it's
beef.
it's many things at once. I think it's what you said last week when we were talking about it. He's a younger player coming up and he's going to learn how to speak to the media. He's going to have his veteran leaders like help him with some of these things. I also think it's context, and I think it's we live in a time of like instant access to things. The TV feeds can flip so quickly and then it's up on social media. So as it was reported, Jung-Hoo Lee comes in to slides into home, and Dalton tags him out. The inning's over. Lee ends up sitting on the base, and as Dalton's walking away, some people said he muttered an expletive at him. Now, this is where, like, to me, the whole thing, I don't care. I care about if Jung-Hoo Lee was okay, but at the same time, like, we don't know what point the camera caught Dalton rushing. He might have looked over his shoulder. Whatever he was muttering might have been about that. It might have been about something else. Like, this is where, like, unless you have the whole picture instead of just these little snippets somebody put together in a story, to me, that's where I don't care. I'm not saying that absolves anybody. I'm just saying I don't think we have the whole picture, the full picture. So to me, that goes into the I don't care bucket. I truly don't, especially when it comes out that Dalton had met up with Hae-Sung Kim, and through him he had talked to Jung-Hoo Lee and they were all good, and then Jung-Hoo Lee comes out later and he's like, there's no beef. I don't know why everybody's making something out of this. In the midst of all of that, Logan Webb ends up hitting Dalton Rushing with a pitch, I think in the third game of the series, and then Dalton Rushing slides into second and people think he was sliding in dirty. I feel like these are all tiny pieces, and yes, they can fit into a larger narrative, but I also think it's, again, much ado about nothing to me. Like, I think this is people trying to make more out of something than it was.
Yeah, I think this is all in terms of the rivalry, but it's all in terms of we have to hate the Dodgers. And look,
but especially if the players are like, no beef, then like, what are we doing?
yeah, I mean, look, if you need to do that, I mean, to get you to play the game, whatever, to each his own. But it really, like, for me, I was like, wow, it must be a really slow news day. There must be like nothing else to talk about that it almost looks like everything the Dodgers do is overanalyzed, or people are looking specifically for something that they can turn into something. And maybe it's because of the fact that the Dodgers garner a lot of attention. And if you go ahead and start talking about the Dodgers, you're going to get clicks, you're going to get views, you're going to get all of this stuff.
It was total clickbait because people got views. Anybody who posted about it.
Yeah.
To me, again, I want to see the whole story. Don't just feed me pieces and tell me that that's the actual narrative. But at the end of the day, I think something that we forget as viewers of the game, whether it's, in person, you get to see kind of a little bit more of that whole picture, but especially on TV, on social media, we're getting snippets. And we know this as journalists, like, you can bend a story however you want if you really want to. I mean, obviously you should have integrity, but like, these guys have cameras on them all the time. The minute something goes wrong in a game, I think somebody didn't make a play right in one of the other games, and you saw the cameras on the Sportsnet feed go immediately to Doc's face because that player probably did something that everybody was like, oh, maybe that play wasn't so great. And they immediately wanted to see what was Doc's face when that happened. And it's like, the amount of scrutiny, like, I put myself in their position sometimes and I'm like, God, I would hate that. What if my ear itched funny and somebody caught me in that moment? Or like, they have cameras on them all the time. Like, how do you even function that way?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I agree with you. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I found it funny that once again Dalton Rushing is in the middle of these things, and I'm like, really? So are you guys saying Dalton Rushing is the bad apple in that Dodgers locker room? It's very interesting to me. Okay, so going into that Cachorro series, yes, you were just talking about how the Dodgers blew a 4-0 lead. It looked like they had that game.
Well, I didn't say they blew it, but
yeah, well, I mean, but that's what happened. It was late in the innings, and it had been a while since we had the bullpen have a collapse like that. I think it was very interesting. You mentioned earlier in terms of the injuries. Roles now have changed in that bullpen with the Edwin Diaz injury. So I do think That's interesting. But
Let's also remember that these guys have been playing every single day thus far. So when we go into and I know, yes, when we start the Cubs series, it's only 4 days in, but for anybody who just works like a 5-day work week, like that stuff's hard enough. If you're working 2 jobs, you guys kind of get a little bit more, but these guys are doing super physical jobs and they're working 10 plus hours a day. Like yes, they're professionals, but like sometimes they're just not going to have a great day.
what were your takeaways from the Cubs series?
I mean, I guess since we finished with drama, we might as well get this out of the way so that we can just talk about the game. But obviously, the hot topic, the hot goss over the whole series was Pete Crow Armstrong's potentially getting booed and then getting booed, and then the comments that he made. And this is the stuff where I'm like, I guess if you want to play the game that way, you can. I personally, if he wants to talk smack, let him talk smack. I don't care. I'm not going to boo him. I don't care. But there were instances, I think, in that what was it, the Friday night game where like it was later innings and he looked up and he was on camera and I think he said something to the effect of like, "Where are all the fans?" or something like that, and it was caught on the broadcast. So I feel like it's social media kind of pumping some of this up more than it is. I feel like if you give it credence, then it has credence. And so, I don't know, the Dodgers turned around and took the next 2 games. Pete Crow Armstrong went, he struck out 4 times in the Saturday game. So I don't know. Again, I feel like it's one of those other narratives. I'm sure it was going to get brought up. I'd rather kill it in the beginning of the Cubs series than have to dwell on it towards the end.
Well, I do think it's funny because I agree with everything that you said. He has the right to say whatever he wants to say. He wants to. There's a lot of people that agree with him in terms of what he said about Dodger fans, right?
But you're going to let him live rent free in your head? Like, not you, but like, do people care that much? Like, all right, he said it. I don't agree. Move on.
Those are 2 of the things that really stood out with me with the Armstrong thing. One is the Dodgers have Dodger fans have an elephant memory. I feel like anybody in the Astros comes in there, they still act like it just happened yesterday to them.
That's my one asterisk, if you will. I will booing that team, especially even if the members of that team are not on the team anymore and they're playing somewhere else. That's the only time I am down for booing somebody. For me, other than that, I'm just like, I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to give my power away on something like that.
And so like that cracks me up that the Dodger fans were just like waiting for this moment. They were going to show it to him. Ooh. The other thing that
I feel like you're firing him up. Do you think if they do that, it fires that player up?
Yeah, and that's why
I'm like, don't do it.
That was going to lead me to my next point, and that is, I think it's just as important to point out that these guys, like the Armstrongs, the other people on the other side, they feed into this. They make it, they add fuel to the fire, because if you saw after they won the game on Friday, as he was going into the dugout, he pulled the basically gladiator, "Are you not entertained?" to the Dodger fans with his arms out, right? And that's the thing. It's like, okay, man, if you're going to do that, you're asking for it. Like,
but at the same time, like, to me, that's just, it's funny and ridiculous at the same time. Like, good for you, bro.
Like, right. And it's like, if you really wanted to nip it in the bud, you would let it go. But because you keep going back to it, it's like you want this. You want this. Whether it's a game to you, you find it entertaining, whatever. You want this. I like you. I am so bored of this. I could care less about it. I think the other drama that came out of that series was Dave Vassegh, and in some people's circles will say that he basically, he I don't want to say Pearl Harbored Craig Counsell by going into his press.
He was in his dugout.
Yeah, he was in the Cubs visiting dugout for this. This was his huddle that he had with the press there, and Vassegh showed up there. And you know what? I think it's a fair question that Dave Vassegh said, but I don't think Counsell was expecting it. And so Counsell,
which is interesting because you're at Dodger Stadium. Like,
Exactly. You
if
would think,
anybody was going to ask you about it, it was going to be here.
but I think the reason why he wasn't because it wasn't the normal scrum where it's just the Cubs reporters, right? That have probably already asked him about this later on. I don't think he was expecting Vassay to come over and be the one leading that question. So I can understand that he got caught with like a deer in the headlights, but to his credit, he still he didn't change his answer. But here's the difference between him and Armstrong. Counsel answered the question and then basically just said, I have nothing else to add, man. Like, that's it. Ya queda. Allí se acaba el pedo. There's nothing else. There's that. Like, I said what I said. This is how I feel. I don't think it's a good rule. And that's it. He's not like Crow going out there and antagonizing people or going the next day and be like, I know I already talked about this, but I'm going to bring it up again.
But I feel like if you're doing a gladiator moment, for me, I'm not like, oh man, he just owned us. I'm more like, wow, okay, good for you. Like, to me, like, I don't like, did you feel good doing that, buddy? Like, did it like, and again, I'm sure Pete Crow Armstrong is a nice guy. Like, for all, like, I've seen so much stuff over this in the last like week where it's like, oh, he thinks we like the spotlight, but then he dyes his hair and puts stars all over it. And I'm just like, you guys are feeding into this though. Like, this is exactly what, maybe it's not what he wants. I don't know. But like, at the end of the day, what I think about is like, these guys all know each other. Like, you were talking about that Jeff Passan, like the interview that he did with Dave Roberts and John Schneider. And it's like, these guys are texting each other after the game. They just competed in the World Series in an 18-inning game. And I don't remember who texted who, but Dave texted John texted Dave, like, and they had a laugh about it. These guys know each other. These guys, they're on first base laughing with Freddie. They're, I don't know that they talk so much with Max Muncy by the time they get to third, but like, these guys are all friendly. So it's more like, if this is an interaction with the fans, like, then just don't add fuel to the fire. Like, just let it die. Like, he's going to come out and do the gladiator thing. And if you guys all just look the other way, what reaction is he getting? And it's not even just about him. It's any type of thing like this. Cause I don't want to make this about Pete Crow Armstrong. He's allowed to feel however he wants, but like, just don't pour fuel on the fire. And again, that goes back to, it's an outside narrative. Don't let people spin it. Just ignore it.
I know that you don't like smack talk,
I
but
hate it.
I do subscribe to the rules of smack talk, and I'm very for making sure you don't break the rules of smack talk. And that's why usually I don't like to talk smack, because I feel like it can come back to haunt you. And I think that's what happened with Pete, because he did not have the greatest series against the Doyers. And so you come in there talking all this stuff, and then you can't back any of it up. You are just giving them fodder to be able to come back to you. So,
which is, and to that, like, I would not be the person like out in the pavilion, because I know that there are people who will shout expletives or negative things at people in the outfield. I don't like that. Like, even if he's doing all this stuff, I still wouldn't do that, because like, he's entitled to do whatever he wants. It's our reactions and how we respond to it that, that dictate what happens next. And I'm like, if you guys don't do anything, it's like a toddler. Like, if you give it attention when they're behaving bad, they're going to keep doing something bad. If you just ignore it, it's like, all right, they're going to get tired of it and, go do something else. And again, I'm not likening him to a toddler, just behavior in general, where we're talking about things like this. So I don't want anybody to get all bent out of shape about Pete Crow Armstrong.
what other takeaways do you have from the Cachorros?
Well, that Saturday game, before the game, well, I'll just bring this up. It was, they had a beautiful ceremony for Rick Monday, the 50th anniversary of when he saved the flag from those protesters. And so they celebrated him on the field. He got a little statue from, I believe it was the Marine Corps and the Toys for Tots, group that they do in the Marines. I'm butchering this right now. I'm tired. But then they also brought the flag up and the statue for us to all kind of see it, make sure that we can, circulate photos of it. And then it's on its way to the Baseball Hall of Fame. So it'll be in Cooperstown, I think, starting Memorial Weekend. So if nobody has ever seen it in person and you happen to be in Cooperstown while it's there, you can visit it, because it's been in Rick and Barbara Lee's possession all these 50 years.
I'm going to be honest with you, Amy. I thought it was already in Cooperstown.
He's had it. He travels around with it all the time.
Well, that's his, and that to me it sucks, because I feel like that's what he's remembered for. That and then the home run he hit in Montreal. And I feel like there's other things that Rick Monday, Ricardo Luna should be remembered for. But I feel like it's the anniversary at every year there's a story done on it. And I'm just like, man, you guys are really trying to get blood out of a stone. I don't know what more we can get out of this story that is new and refreshing. But yeah, when I found out that it was going to the Hall of Fame, I was like, wait a minute, I thought it was already there. But hey, good for you, Ricardo.
I think it's more just maybe people who didn't know that that happened, and the fact that it was on a Cubs Dodgers weekend, I thought was like, oh, look, full circle. Here we go.
Yeah, hats
And I'm
off
just
to
oh, go ahead.
no. I was just going to say hats off to marketing because that was a very smart decision.
Well, they should have sold little flags around the stadium. That would have been good marketing. But no, it was just honestly, I'm a history nut, and so getting to see the flag was it's like, oh my god, this is so cool. So that series we saw, let's see. I mean, we took 2 out of 3. That Saturday game was a blowout. We saw pretty much, I think everybody scored in that game. I'm looking. Yeah. So
Yeah, that was a game well, that whole series. I mean, you went from the previous series only scoring 4 runs, and you scored 4 runs on Friday. You scored 12 runs on Saturday, and then you scored another 6 runs
mhm.
on Sunday. I mean, it was like, hey, the offense is back, ladies and gentlemen. But then we'll get into the Marlins of Miami series. But let's stick with the Cachorros. What else do you got with the Cachorros?
Obviously the bat, they were able to circumvent some of the guys. Obviously some of the Cubs pitchers, the relief pitchers had a rough go of it. Um, we did see Michael Conforto make an appearance, and I don't know if you saw around social media that Kike Hernandez from the dugout was trying to get him to do the first base celly from the Dodgers, like the little celebration, which
I did
I
see
was
that.
like, oh, Kike. But even just some of the plays, there was that, I think when Teo was coming around in that one inning where they brutalized Javier Assad, and they tried to challenge that one base running, saying that, he didn't touch third base. And then it was like, oh God, did he not touch? Oh, wait, we have all these runs. Does it matter? And then turns out he did. So, it worked out, but still trying to see. What else? Shohei kind of got his groove back, so we saw that. Started hitting again. So everybody was a little bit worried about him. I don't understand. He's a baseball player. He's going to go through ups and downs, but judging by what you saw on social media, it was I think the word slump was thrown around, and it was just like, my God, people settle down.
Yeah, that I want to get into it when we talk about his outing again. It's the Marlins of Miami. I'll have more to add on that, but go ahead.
But he was the source of the entire media scrum on Saturday. I want to say 60 to 70% of the questions surrounded his slump and how he was doing. And I feel like he came back. He did all right. So I think he's okay. We shut out the Cubs on Sunday, so it was a nice way to end the series, especially after all of the antics all weekend long.
Let me ask you this, since on Shohei, just this part here. Do you think he hears all this noise about the Otani rule, about them, asking about how much time he gets to warm up? Do you think any of that he actually pays attention to any of that?
I don't know, honestly. I've never thought about it. I guess the better question would be, even if he did, does he care? Or is he just so super focused on my 10 hours of sleep, my new little girl, my winning the third time, and I just don't have time for this noise.
Yeah, because there's a lot of. I mean, I think what makes athletes so great is the ability that they can block certain things out. But then there are other athletes that are elite athletes that do pay attention to this stuff, aka Kevin Durant creating a burner account.
Oh
So
wow.
you know, so that's why because we don't know that much about him, I am curious about that. Do you have anything else on the Cachorro series? Because I do want to chime in on something on the Cachorro series.
No, we saw Roki struggle a little bit, but again, I feel like sometimes it's like part of it is him trying to find his footing, if you will. But I think the other part is just also like he's not just the back of a baseball card, like we keep saying. Like there are sometimes other factors in play. So I mean, he gave up a couple home runs, a few home runs.
I mean, you took me where I wanted to go, and that's
You're
what,
welcome.
um, and I know a lot of people are not fans of his, but Dylan Hernandez wrote a piece in the California Post about Roki that I thought, I like Dylan. I think Dylan is a very good writer, and because he is critical of the Dodgers, I know there's a lot of people who aren't fans of him, but I thought he said something about Roki that I thought was really fair. And I think the rest of Dodger fans should really take heed to this.
Good
And what
luck.
Dylan Hernandez basically said is we need to forget this image of a 21-year-old Roki who dominated in the Japanese League and who dominated the World Baseball Classic, because that's not who he is here in Major League Baseball. And I agree with Dylan there. I think what this does is it really showcases how great the unicorn is, how great Yamamoto is, that they have come to Major League Baseball. They have made the adjustment and they've had success. If you go back and you see that track record of a lot of Japanese pitchers or players that have come, they don't translate to that same level of success as Yamamoto and Otani. And I think because we didn't know anything about Roki going into it, or like, I don't want to speak for all you fans. I know you're out there. There's some fans who follow the Japanese league every day and know everything about how great he was going into this. But how fair really is it, Amie, for our to have these expectations of Roki that perhaps were unrealistic, and we just really need to recalibrate these expectations and be like, okay, Roki is not Shohei. Roki is not Yamamoto. There's a reason why he's not those guys, and those guys are really, really special.
No, I agree. I think one, you shouldn't have expectations anyway when you're watching baseball. Just enjoy it.
You think we should lower expectations?
100%. But like when you do anything with expectations, you're bound to be disappointed. But I think on top of that, I don't think we give enough credit. And we mention it from time to time on the show, but like the transition to come over here is hard. Like think of any situation where you're in a group of people where you don't speak their language. I mean, I know sometimes that happens to people and it's like it's very isolating. He can come over here, maybe he has an interpreter, but your interpreter isn't your buddy. That's not who you hang out with. And even though he's on the same level, like language-wise with Shohei and Yamamoto, just because they're all Japanese speakers doesn't mean they're going to be besties. Do they get along? Yeah, probably. But you're still here essentially alone. Like imagine not having your safety net of your family, your friends, your country. When you're playing for Team Japan or whatever team he's on, in the regular the league he's in, not just in the World Baseball Classic, you're surrounded by everybody from your culture who understands everything. You're in a new place, new food, new routines, new people, new language. Like that's a lot. I think we underestimate how much that actually impacts people. You were just alluding to how well people do or do not make the adjustment, but it's not just about the baseball. And that's a factor in and of itself. They use totally different equipment, baseballs and things like that over there. So he's having to adjust on a lot of different levels at once. Did Shohei and Yamamoto do it? Yeah, we saw it was a little rocky in the beginning for Yamamoto, but he's kind of found his pace. And I feel like we're rushing it for Roki and everybody's just writing him hard when he's like, just let him be a baseball player. If he's not going to do well over time, they're going to figure out what to do with him, but maybe he figures it out. Like, just give him time.
I think what's really interesting is Blake Snell continues on his rehab assignments. And I think the goal line is still probably the middle of May.
Mhm.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do when Blake Snell comes back? Because can we another person that I want to give flores to
Robo.
is exactly Robo again, man. This guy he went 8 innings, next game 7 innings, innings, and his ERA is 1.50, ladies and gentlemen. If it's not for what the unicorn is doing right now, I think Bluesky would be the talk of that Dodger starting rotation, so much to the point where Dave Roberts said he has proven that he is a major leaguer. He deserves to be up here. That's why I find it even more interesting. What are they going to do when Blake Snell comes back? Because, yes, okay, Roki gave you 5 innings. He gave up 4 runs. His ERA is still over 6. And that's an issue, right? Because especially if you have an offense that is inconsistent right now, you want to have your pitchers at least keep you in the game. All right. We saw how in San Pancho 3 runs was insurmountable. I mean, I don't think it's realistic for us to expect every Dodger pitcher to do what Robo's doing right now, what pitching shutout innings and stuff like that. But Flores once again to Robleski, man. Just that guy right now just looks like a pitching machine where he is just out there, he's not wasting any time. He's throwing pitches, and again, my big question is, can he keep this up? And I am glad that every start so far he is proving me wrong.
Well, and they were talking about it on the broadcast about how like he went to Clayton Kershaw to get pointers, and now he's even prepping before games like Clayton Kershaw. Like he's to the point where like don't talk to me on like game days. Like he's taking it very seriously, and not to say that the other guys aren't, but he's putting in the work, and we're seeing it pay off. So I mean, he's definitely in the equation, and then they're going to make the decision. They'll figure it out. So worst case, you just shuffle a couple people around. The bullpen is kind of hurting right now. So maybe you see some of those guys like Emmett Sheehan ends up, helping out in the bullpen a little bit if they need to shift him, or you start seeing some piggybacking. They're going to come up with something by the time, Snell comes back, and, we'll see what happens.
What else you got in the Cachorro series?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it was nice to see them shut them out. I mean, it was a good game, especially with Robo, on the mound.
So let's go into the Marlins of Miami. They show up here at Dodger Stadium, and I got to say, Amy, I was feeling good after they took 2 out of 3 against the Cachorros, because it almost felt like they should have swept that series. And especially as hot as the Cachorros came, I was just like, okay, so maybe that series in San Pancho, it was just a blip. But then
they might not win every series though, right? Like
no, I get that. I get they might not win every series, but to me, what is concerning, Amy, is we saw them score 4 runs in the San Pancho series, and then the last 2 games that they lost in that Miami series, they scored 3 runs. And so for me, what is really interesting is the roller coaster aspect of this offense. And the reason why I'm not panicking, no pasa nada, is
look at you.
For me, this season is already looking a lot like last season. Do you remember last year when they started 8-0 and everybody was like, oh, they're going to set records. And then basically after that first month of the season, they played 500 ball for the rest of the year. And if it wasn't for that great start that they had to the season, that division race might have been a little tighter. I feel like the same thing happened here. They got off to a really good start, and now you're starting to see inconsistency. Why are you shaking your head at me? What is wrong with what I said?
This is literally how a season goes. You can't predict any of this. If you could predict wins and losses, like Back to the Future, was it 2? Wouldn't have even been a movie. Like the betting wouldn't have such a foothold in the industry, where I think the MLB Players Association just announced another partnership, where it's just like, this is baseball. You can't predict it. All the algorithms in the world, they try to do their best, and you still cannot predict human behavior.
What was your takeaways then from this Marlins series?
I mean, they definitely could not figure out their pitching, like the Marlins pitching, that is. I think it was even when they were playing in the Tuesday game against Jansen Junk. I think even Dave addressed it afterwards where he was like, yeah, we just didn't have enough tape on him. So these guys clearly had tape on the Dodgers because they, like you said, they held them in those last 2 games and the 2 losses. They held them to 3 runs total. They did get on base every so often, but we're seeing things where, like, Freddie's trying his darndest, but every so often he's hitting into those double plays in key moments. I think he ground out to the first baseman like 3 times in his first 3 at bats on Tuesday, where it was just like, oh, not again, which I'm sure that's what he was thinking too. Like, gosh, just get through the gap. But I mean, it wasn't for lack of them trying to grind it out and still make a go of it. I mean, Shohei was pitching on Tuesday, and you could tell he was frustrated with himself. Like, he was not pitching up to his standard, and he wasn't even batting that day. They ended up using Dalton Rushing as the designated hitter to give him a little bit of a breather so that he wasn't necessarily tiring himself out, because last year he didn't have to start out the season pitching. We ended up, ramping him up later.
All right, so you brought it up, so let's go into it. I keep delaying the Shohei aspect, and that is in that game on Tuesday, Amie. It was for the first time, at least for me, and he was.
What are you going to say? He looked human?
Well, no, not that he looked human. It was, I mean, he labored through those 6 innings. Well, he started off really hot, but then those last couple of innings, he looked like he was just laboring. And like around the 5th inning, he just looked, and that to me, and it's not just that start, it's earlier. For the first time, I feel like he looks tired. Do you not get that vibe?
I mean, he was having to work hard, and the offense didn't really put up any numbers. So, I mean, I think his sense of taking on more responsibility than a normal person would in a game, I think that can also factor into tiring yourself out more quickly, wanting a better result. And you can't carry the whole team. Like, all you can do is pitch from the mound. Like, that's all you can focus on.
So the articles are already being written, right?
Oh,
You had mentioned earlier about the slump, right? That Shohei, that people were like, oh, he's slumping. The articles are already being written that because he is focusing so much on pitching, is it affecting his offense? And look, yes, if you look at him right now, these are not. I don't know, Amie. I really don't know what to make out of this, okay? Because he's hitting 278. He has 6 home runs. Now, if he keeps this up, he's going to be on a pace where he's going to end up hitting between 35 to 40 home runs on the season.
And before we get all negative, OptaStats they posted that in each of his 5 pitching starts this year, he's gone at least 6 innings, allowed no more than 5 hits, allowed no more than 1 earned run, and allowed 0 home runs. So no other MLB pitcher has done that in each of his first 5 starts of a season since the earned run became official in 1913. So, like, for all the doomsday out there, again, I think it's what you choose to focus on. Maybe he is tired. Maybe he was just tired that day. Maybe his, baby didn't sleep well the night before. Like, there are so many things that go into this. And I feel like people try to make a narrative out of something where it's just like, if it becomes a consistent problem, then yeah, the Dodgers are going to address it. But also sometimes a day is just a day. So, I mean, what do you choose to focus on? What do you choose to look at? I don't only look at the good. Obviously, you've got to have some balance, but I don't dwell on, like there was, I forget if it was Pitching Ninja or somebody posted something. It was like a amalgamation of all of his funny faces or like frustrated faces that he was making over the course of Tuesday. And it's like, okay, but what are you gonna focus on?
I mean, I think he's damned if he does, damned if he do. What, you were going to say something?
I thought I had who did it. I didn't want to miscredit it. It was Rob Freeman, yeah, Pitching Ninja.
I mean, my thing is this: you look at his ERA, and his ERA is ridiculous. I mean, his ERA is 0.60. Okay.
So what are we talking about then?
Now, I get it. It's 30 innings pitched, right? But still, that's ridiculous. To have an ERA under 1 is ridiculous. Now, in terms of his offensive numbers, again, I don't know what any is it because Dalton Rushing has more home runs than him? Is it because Max Muncy has more home runs? And I don't know what more, because come the end of the season, he may end up putting up the same numbers that he puts up every year, right? But are we just in our minds, again, this is prisoner moment, and this is going back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show.
His batting average is 273 right now.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I'm saying is is the expectation that every game that Shohei plays is going to be like that NLCS game in the Cerveceros, where he's going to pitch 6 innings of shutout ball and hit 3 home runs in the game?
I mean, that's not my expectation.
That's ridiculous. So these ideas of, now, to be fair, I understand the arguments in terms of the slump, because I do feel, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I don't know if these numbers actually do support this, but he is striking out more. And if you look at it, you look at some of his at-bats, some of his at-bats look bad. So I don't know if it's the eye test that people are why they think Shohei's in a slump. But if you look at the numbers, Amie, if you had a guy who was pitching and had an ERA under 1 and was hitting 273 with 6 home runs and 21 RBIs in the first month of the season, everyone would take that. Everyone would say that is a super productive player.
But
So
I guess I could see trends, but at the same time, it looked like the times that he was striking out a little bit more were the start of the Giants series, and then by the time we kind of finished up the Cubs series, he found it. So we're panicking over a 5-game stretch. Is that what we're panicking over? Because to me, this is where I will never understand the people who have higher expectations for these people than they probably do of themselves. I understand they're professionals and they get paid a lot of money, but that does not mean that they're not human. And I mean, how's it working out for the people who are putting those higher expectations on him? To me, I'm not focused on any of that when I'm watching the game. I'm watching him in wonder of what he's doing. I'm just in awe. And for me, I focus on even just the lighter moments in the game. Will Smith got fouled off in the junk the other night.
Oh yeah.
And you hear Shohei, I think they were saying on the broadcast, Shohei's the one who screamed, not necessarily Will. And then Shohei's kind of smirking, but oh God, you could see him empathizing with Will. And then you've got Freddie Freeman yelling something at Will and laughing, which makes Will then laugh in the midst of oh my God, I'm in pain. And to me, that's what I focus on in the games. Okay, they just had a lighthearted moment. They're going to get back to it. And, I hope we win this game. If we don't, then again, we have a short memory in baseball. We try to win it again tomorrow. So I just.
Yeah, that was, to me, I was watching the game, and when it happened, my first reaction when I saw Shohei smirk, I was like, what a son of a bitch. I can't believe he's laughing at Will Smith. And Will Smith in his pain right now. I was like, oh man. And so my wife heard me, and she came in, and I rewinded so she could see it. And then we saw Freddie Freeman. I was like, oh yeah, you guys are all laughing because that's what comedy is, tragedy that happens to somebody else. I was like, you guys are laughing. You guys wouldn't be laughing if it happened to you. I was like, where's the empathy? Where's the empathy, Amie?
See, and I took it the other way of they're helping get him past that moment, because whatever Freddie said, you saw it register on Will's face, and he started grinning. So to me, I'm well done, Freddie. You got him out of the moment. You got him back into the game. And so that again, just you and I look at things very differently, my friend.
I was just like, that man, that's no laughing matter. That man just got hit in the junk, man. He is in pain, and these guys are all sitting there laughing. What else? What other takeaways do you have from the Marlins of Miami series?
Kyle Tucker got his moment. He had that walk-off in Monday's game where, what a great moment for him too, especially when we were trailing most of the game. We started off strong, scored 2 right out of the gate, and then the Marlins scored 4. And then we were able to come back in the 9th. So, wah, we won.
And everybody, it's funny because everybody was acting like, hey, he needed that. But
Everybody's been on him too, and I'm just like, let him get used to the transition. Jeez.
talking about that, so my wife was telling me she has a coworker who I don't know how adamant of a Dodger fan she is, but my wife was talking about that game the next day at work. And this coworker said to her, she was like, about time he does something. And I was just like, oh wow, is she like that much of a Dodger? Does she follow the Dodgers? Does she know like the struggles that Kyle Tucker's going through?
That could be 50-50. It could go either way. It's either surface level, this is just what I hear from everybody, or I am
Exactly.
following them and I feel his pain.
Exactly. So that's why I didn't know. But here's the thing with Kyle Tucker that I find very interesting. Okay. And that is, I don't know if you've heard this already. Okay. But Kyle Tucker right now is hitting 241. He's got 3 home runs, 15 RBIs. I think a lot of people get caught up with how much money Kyle Tucker is making. And that's part of the reason why they have these expectations of him. But on social media, I've seen this more than once, Amie. I'm curious if you've seen it. The comparison of Kyle Tucker and Michael Conforto. Okay, so are you? Do you think that was offensive? Do you think that was crossing line for them to say that Kyle Tucker is in 2025 Michael Conforto level?
I'm offended on both levels because I don't think you should be talking about Conforto that way either, especially when he tried as hard as he did. And it's through, he couldn't put it together. So like it's doubly offensive to me. At the same time, like he's on a new team. Yes, he does have a large contract. We've also seen that sometimes affect people maybe in the beginning just because they have that pressure to live up to. But then they also put him, batting second behind Shohei. And again, I understand these guys are all professionals, but there's a lot of pressure there. You've got to be able to basically be that like big hulking person behind Shohei. If they're going to intentionally walk him, you've got to be the one that intimidates everybody else after that. I don't know. Like, I feel like if it continues, hopefully the Dodgers, course correct. We've seen them move him around in the lineup, and that seems to have helped a little bit. So, these guys are human. I mean, that's what I just keep coming back to. Like, I don't know what to say to these people who want perfection.
I thought when I first saw that, I thought that was a little unfair. I was just like, first of all, it's the first month of the season.
And second I'm sure Conforto didn't he wanted to be hitting too, but it was also management, front office. They kept putting him out there. So what are you supposed to do? You do your best.
So I got curious. So I decided to look up Michael Conforto's numbers, right, to try to understand why people were making this comparison. And so Michael Conforto right now is hitting 308. Okay. He's got 5 RBIs. He doesn't have any home runs.
So and he didn't do the Dodger celebration on first base.
And so I know a lot of people are caught up in the batting average because it's better than Kyle Tucker's batting average. But this is where you got to look deeper, right, into the numbers, Amie. And then you got to sit there and you got to see that Michael Conforto has 26 at-bats and Kyle Tucker has 113 at-bats. So there's probably a reason why there's a discrepancy. I would love to see what Michael Conforto's batting average is when he gets to 113 at-bats.
But good for him for being that good off the bench.
Yeah, so for me, I'm just like, look, I still feel Kyle Tucker is a more productive player than Michael Conforto. I felt it was out of pocket for them to make those comparisons, but I think it was good to see him get that hit. But I thought what was so funny is you would think he would be so elated, and I felt like, did you see? Were you at the game, or were you able to watch it on television?
I was not. No, I haven't been at any games this week. I was only at Saturday's game.
Okay, so did you watch it on TV?
I did.
So did you see how he was just like so ho-hum, like he didn't get too high, he didn't get too low. It was just completely even keel.
Because he didn't know.
Well, yeah, it did. Afterwards in the post-game interview, he thought the score was wrong because he didn't hear the crowd going nuts until the winning run scored. But
Which I totally get though, because I'm not gonna get my hopes up and start cheering before like, wait, did we get it? Did they throw us out? Are we good? Like I'm keeping it under lock and key until we know for sure.
yeah, but I felt like that reaction is probably the same that Dodger fans should take notes, and that's how they should react to everything during the regular season. And
Just
that
cheer
is,
for everything?
don't get too high, don't get too low. There's another game tomorrow. It is April. That is the theme of this show, ladies and gentlemen. It is April. So I get it. Like all these Eeyores that I'm surrounded by. I get it. Okay. It's
Just
like
text me and I'll give you a good dose of positivity.
1 minute they're hitting, the next minute they're not hitting. And I know that a lot of it is also other factors. Like I showed you, there were a couple of our listeners that reached out to me that were, bummed about not being able to afford to go to games or to go to as many games as they used to go before. And look, for you listeners that sent me that information, I just want to sit there and say, look, I hear you, I listen, I feel empathy for you. I think that
Mhm.
sucks. I think it really sucks getting priced out. And it was something that I never, for the businessman special, Amy, for the Wednesday game against the Marlins of Miami. I know that if you went on StubHub, the cheapest ticket to get in on a businessman special was $51. But if you went to the Dodgers website, the cheapest ticket was $38. So
That's what they were charging us because I ended up giving
so
my friend tickets to go.
So I know a lot of times you guys just automatically go to these secondary markets. Actually, try the Dodgers website first. Try to get tickets through them first. And guess what? Their tickets are probably going to be cheaper than the
Mhm.
secondary market. So, but I don't want to dismiss because I do think it sucks that even for a Wednesday 12 o'clock start against the Marlins of Miami, is still out of your range. And I know a lot of it is also we're stuck in our head. Back in the day, we could have gotten those tickets for like $10 and stuff like that. And it's like, guess what, guys? We're past that time. We're not living in that time anymore. So all I'm saying, guys, it's April. They're still in first place. They're 9 games over 500. Every year we do this, like the GIF says, it's the vicious cycle. They are not going. Last year, they ended up, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I didn't think they were going to win the World Series. As a matter of fact, I don't think they're going to win the World Series this year either. But they could always end up surprising you.
I am so sorry for how you watch baseball. Like I feel like so Dave Roberts, God, I don't even remember the scrum was probably a couple years ago, but he got called out in the scrum by somebody saying like, every year you say you guys are going to win the World Series and it's April or it's May and you're like, yeah, we're going to win it. And he's like, but what would you want me to say? Like we're not, hey, we might make a good run. We probably won't make it there. He's like, if I don't believe that we're going to win the World Series, like then what like I'm kind of paraphrasing myself, but like basically like what are we doing this for then? I go into every year like I don't know if we're going to win it or not, but like the hope is there. I know they're going to try their best, but like I don't know, just to go in and shut it down automatically.
Um, Look, I have no problem with them saying they're going to win the World Series. I expect
But
them to.
you've already like I don't think they're going to do it.
Well, because the odds are against them. We haven't had a three-peat in
The
25
The
years.
odds were against them, like, repeating last year too.
Right. And it took
This is why
inches.
you just don't go off odds, you just enjoy the game, like, you just enjoy it because, like we keep saying, we don't know what's gonna happen after the collective bargaining agreement expires. Enjoy this game. We don't know when we're getting baseball next year. I
But
just
I don't think that's sour. All I'm just saying is I feel I'm being realistic.
okay.
That they're not going to win, but I still watch every game. I still like I
I
feel I feel like I am making so much progress that I'm
You
not
are
toxic.
you are making progress. I don't understand a mentality where we just like, yeah, they could do it. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying that they won't or they will, like, they could do it. Like, I haven't already discounted that. I just, statistically speaking, they're probably not gonna do it. I don't wanna live in that place. Like, yeah, they're gonna make a run. I don't know.
I
Words have power. Words matter. So you don't have to commit to them winning, but like, I don't know, just how you talk about it to yourself maybe helps as
I
you're on
think
this
it's
new path forward.
I think it's more important for the players to believe it because they're the ones that are actually going to do it and not me. I know a lot of people believe in the announcer jinx and all that stuff, but contrary to popular belief, I don't think what I believe or say impacts what the Dodgers
Oh,
do
I'm not
at
saying it for
all.
that reason. I don't think for the Dodgers that matters at all. I'm saying for your enjoyment of the season down the line, words matter. They have power. So however you're talking about it with yourself, it's mm, but you do you.
Talking about enjoyment, do you have any other takeaways from the Cubs series? Because there is something that is not baseball related about not the Cubs series. I'm sorry, the Marlins series. There is something that I want to talk about the Marlins series that is not baseball related.
Are we talking about Tuesday night?
And the women's night and the playlist. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Can we discuss that?
Yes,
Because
we
I think
can.
this is becoming a tradition that I love and I look forward to that I think is really fun and hilarious.
I was supposed to be at that game Tuesday night, and I had something come up where I couldn't go, and I'm bummed because I go to this game every year, and I love listening to the songs. I love seeing the energy in the stadium. But I still looked up the playlist and tried to like kind of hear it in the background before they cut to whatever. And like just some of the songs that they picked for each other were just I don't know. I love it. And you know that some of them wouldn't get played because like they had the list and like Mookie Betts is on there. Obviously he's not playing right now and some people aren't pitching that night. So and then Hey Sung Kim just had his song that he normally has.
And for those of you who are unclear what we're talking about, it's Women's Night at Dodger Stadium. Every time it's Women's Night at Dodger Stadium, the player's significant other will choose a walk-up song for them.
Mhm.
And so on their social media, they put out all the songs for the players. To Amy's point, so even though they weren't in the game, they still had a song selected for them. But Amy, can I just tell you this? I find it very interesting Federico Freeman's song choices because Federico Freeman's normal walk-up songs are Bad Bunny, and he always lets his oldest son choose his walk-up
They're
song.
very ethnic.
Yes, but for women's night, Chelsea chose Bichota by Carol G. And Amy, what I am wondering, and I'm asking you the same question I asked my wife, do the Freemans have an appreciation for the Latino culture, or is this pandering to the Latino culture that they keep choosing Latino music?
I think it could be both. Like, I mean, obviously it's a crowd pleaser, but who knows? Maybe he just truly enjoys it. Maybe he's not just Canadian and American. Maybe he's got a little bit of Latin in him.
Maybe he saw Coachella and he was just like, "Oh, who is this Carol G? I like her beats." By the way, in Coachella, shouts out to Becky G. She's a real one, by the way. Uh,
Did some of the other songs did you see? I hope this didn't make anybody upset. Shohei had a pitching and a batting song. Do you think everybody was jealous that he got two?
you know what? I don't know. I'll wait to see what Justin Turner says on Twitter about it. Like I said, going back to that Otani rule, I think it's interesting because there are some people that agree with Craig Counsell. Obviously, I think this is something that I'm curious if it is going to be looked at because Justin Turner chimed in. By the way, when Justin Turner chimed in, I thought immediately I thought it was a very interesting point that he brought up in the sense that he feels teams should be allowed to make their own breakup of how they want to divide their rosters, how many pitchers they want to carry, and how many players they want to carry. But when I saw that from Justin Turner, I was like, you know what? I think he's going to be a very good analyst, like in a TV studio, like in the same role like the way Charles Barkley is in the NBA. I
And
could
I thought he
totally
wanted to
see.
manage.
And he might, but I just felt like, you know what? He went to social media, he expressed his opinion, he expressed it in a way that was clear and everybody could understand it, and it inspired a conversation. And that's what you want in a TV personality, right? You want somebody that is going to get people's attention and talk about what you were saying. And I don't think what Justin Turner said in any way was negative or derogatory. He was just acknowledging, okay, let's look at this rule. How could we alter this rule? How could we, resolve this so people can stop complaining about that it's an unfair advantage? Well, how do we make it even? Like, I thought it was really fascinating.
No, I mean, just the whole conversation is just interesting to me, especially when you have like Andrew Friedman saying, I don't even know why we're bringing it up. Like, I'm curious why council brought it up, basically, because the MLB called all of us before they even instituted the rule when he was still an Angel. So, like, I did like that Alex Call, his partner, his wife, Sammy Call, picked Call Me Maybe, Carly Rae Jepsen. I love that song. It's such an earworm. And I was just like, yes. There were some good ones on this list, though, but I think Freddie's probably stood out the most. We didn't get to see Landon Knack, but his partner chose La Chona for his.
I would have loved to be able to hear that. But
Yeah. So yeah, it's something that I enjoy if you ever get a chance to make it out there, or if you can kind of like pay attention before they either cut to like the next thing that's coming up on the broadcast. Sometimes you can hear the music in the background as the players are walking up. So good times.
you mentioned Hae-sung Kim choosing his same walk-up song.
Well, no, he didn't. He didn't have a choice. There wasn't somebody to pick for him. I don't think he's even on this list.
And so it just brings me up to the point that Hae-sung Kim got his World Series ring.
He did.
And it reminded me that he wasn't on the opening day roster, so he didn't get his ring at the same time that everyone else did. So I think that was cool that he got his ring.
They did it in the clubhouse, made a few speeches. And then, of course, I feel like we just can't get away from the negativity. I saw people, well, why didn't they do it in front of the fans like they did all the other players? And it's like, let the guy get his ring wherever he gets his ring. Like, half the time, people aren't even paying attention before the game when that stuff happens.
I'm telling you, Amy, we have reached a level that we just need to come to terms with. When it comes to the Dodgers, you're going to get good and bad. No one is going to be completely happy.
And this is why I just, like I said, I curate my social media. And if it wasn't for this show, I wouldn't even talk about half of this stuff because I truly don't even care about it.
Well, let's see if we can end with something that will make you happy. Do you want to talk about the Cleveland Guardian girl?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to go to the gross story. And I was like, oh, we could talk about that.
Well, all right. Let's end with the Cleveland Guardian girl. Let's just quickly mention that the Angels, once again, there's a story coming out that they found rat droppings in the stadium. And for those of you, if maybe you're not been aware, but a few years ago, there was another story that they had found rat droppings at Angel Stadium. So my question to you, Amy, and that is, because immediately when that story got posted, if you looked in the comments section, immediately all these people started pointing out stuff about that the Dodgers have been guilty of.
Oh, that's not what I saw when me and my friends were looking at it. Everybody was making snide comments about Artie Moreno.
Well, yeah.
I think I curate my feed a little bit differently.
There was that also. But here's my, what it really got me quite, and I looked at my wife and I said to her, I really need to stop eating at stadiums because I don't know. Like, I am surprised that I haven't gotten food poisoning, but I know that some of you guys, and I'm curious, I want to hear from you. Do some of you fans not care about getting food poisoning? Do you guys think it's worth it? Like, for me,
you are throwing
I don't think
very
the food
serious accusations out there right now, sir.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, when I hear that, I'm like, man, I really need to start paying more attention to how clean places are where I go to get food. Like,
Me,
I'll tell you this,
oh,
and I hope my
I
compadre
do that now, but okay.
is listening because he might be able to vouch for me. I wonder if he remembers this. There was a time that we went to a Bob's Big Boy when we were in high school.
Oh, I had
And
a Bob's
Bob's
Big
Big
Boy
Boy,
piggy bank.
it was like a nostalgia for me, right? Because I remember Bob's Big Boy as a little boy, as a kid, right? And so we were driving by, we were in high school, and we were like, hey, there's a Bob's Big Boy, let's go. So we went, and outside the letter grade was B. Amie, I
You went
should have,
in anyway?
yeah, I should have paid attention to that B, but I was
Oh,
so enamored with the fact that it
Juan.
was a Bob's Big Boy, right? So we went, and my compadre and I ordered mozzarella sticks. We both bit into our mozzarella stick, and I looked at him and he looked at me, and I said, does your mozzarella stick have cheese in it? And he was like, no. And I was like, mine doesn't either. So we just had like a fried stick of, I don't know what it was. Then my friend Bobby Fonseca ordered a hamburger, and it was kind of like a sloppy Joe because he ended up taking a bite
Okay.
out of it, and all this stuff came out of the other end.
Okay. I'm
Ba- Basically, what I am saying, people, is you guys need to start paying attention where you eat, because I that story with Angel Stadium and the rat droppings really got me thinking. I'm a little too comfortable eating food at a stadium.
yes. And did you just read the clickbait like title, or did you read the article?
Well, there's different articles, so I don't know which one you
So
read, because Bill
so
Shaken had posted one.
there was one that was saying like they made it out to be like the whole stadium was closing down at first, and then it's a section, not the stadium. And I am not justifying this in any way, but I also want to make sure we're not putting misinformation out there. But they were saying that the Orange County Public Health Services Retail Food Facility Inspection Report showed that on April 22nd, it was the view level 432 concession area. So they closed that concession area because of the rat droppings, and it was 5 different locations. So at first I'm like, oh God, was it in the food? Was it in the prep area? So it was actually adjacent to janitorial supplies, on the floor under storage racks, next to boxes of single use articles, next to the water heater, and next to the janitorial sink. And they found a hole that was a little more than a quarter inch on the ceiling, which is probably how they got in. So again, while I am not excusing this, you should not have this at all. However, it wasn't like it was in the food. So just making sure that we are being completely clear before we put something out there. And then, not everybody does research. So I want to make sure we're arming people with the facts.
That's fair. That's very fair. I'm glad that you did that. At the same time, Amie,
No,
that doesn't convince me that there wasn't a rat dropping somewhere
no,
else,
no.
because
Those are the ones we know
usually
about.
usually when there's rats in one place, there might be rats in other places. But anyway,
100%. And that's why I'm saying I'm not excusing it, but I want to make sure we're not that you were spreading misinformation. I just want to make sure we're giving the whole picture.
all right. So I hope nobody's listening or watching this at lunchtime. So let's get off this gross story, and let's
Ugh.
end with something somewhat positive. Amie,
I mean,
I know you can spin this, but do you want to set up this little girl who was a Cleveland Guardians fan at a Cleveland Guardians game, and her home run ball journey?
well, yes. And I think this begs the greater debate, and maybe we leave it on a cliffhanger and let everybody tell us like their opinions, because from what I saw watching or reading about this was there's a lot of debate about I shouldn't have to give my ball to a child, or if I catch it, it should be mine. 100% agree. But what happened in this case was a ball was hit. A guy tried to like why can I not think of it? Grab it with his hand. Why can I not think of the word?
Catch it.
Yeah, that's not what I'm thinking of. But anyway, he was trying to grab the ball. It bounced out of his hand, and then it rolled away over to the left, and it rolled over to a girl who was going to pick it up off the floor. He ran over, and it from what it looked like, there was a little bit of a struggle, and he took it from the girl. So the argument isn't really like, do you have to give your ball to a kid every time you catch something? But if she had it, I don't know. This is the fight, right? Because everybody's like, well, it's fair game till somebody grabs it and it's in their hand. Anyway, the stadium people over at I think it was Tampa Bay ended up bringing her and her brother a ball. And then I guess the guy who kept the ball and had posted it got pressured from people texting him, and eventually, like 4 or 5 innings later, ended up giving it back to the girl. So the mother had made a post thanking the stadium and, basically putting the story out there. So the little girl got a ball. Either way.
I don't know that it's a yes or no question, Amie,
I
because
think it's situational.
Yes, it's circumstantial, because the thing is, if that was a ball that, let's say it was Shohei's 760th home run or whatever, yeah, if there was a historical element to that ball, then I guess, yeah, all bets are off. Get that ball because it's going to be worth a lot of money. But if it's just a meaningless home run ball, I get it. Look, I've never caught a foul ball in a game. I've never caught a home run ball. I've always wanted to do it. But
Me too.
if it was between me and a little kid, I would let the little kid have it, because you know what? I'm a grown ass man. It's going to mean more to that little kid than me.
And you're growing a future fan, which is what I saw in a lot of the comments, or like, yes, we would all love to keep that ball, but is the price of giving it up, you grow that future person that's interested in baseball, and you go buy like a $12 ball in the store to commemorate whatever you caught, because again, it's like you said, a meaningless ball. But to me, it's also like, if he had caught it outright and it was in his hand, like, all right, dude, that's your ball. But like, I think what everybody took umbrage was that he like went over there and like scuffled with the little girl. And it's like, at what rate did you really want that ball that badly? So
Exactly. And what sucks is you see the sadness in her face when she doesn't have the ball. So I'm glad eventually it took him to get publicly shamed for him to give the ball, but
kids aren't entitled to them. But I also hate when like you see the little kids at the stadium before the game, and then the ball hawks come and kind of either knock a kid down or grab a ball out of there. Like, there has to be some balance. Like, I don't think that they should only belong to kids, but I don't know. Like, there's no right answer to it.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that's going to do it for this episode. For those, any last words, Amie?
Bring your food to Angel Stadium.
For those of you that have been listening on the audio portion of the show, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, rate us, write us a review, help spread the word about the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit that notification button, give us a thumbs up, leave us your comments. We love engaging with you. And most importantly, make sure you're following us on social media, on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, YouTube, and Bluesky at Baseball Shangri-La. She is Amie Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. Nos despedimos con un beso. Goodbye, people. Amie? I did that after Women's Night. See, this is why I deserve to go. Amie, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.